Hello friends, welcome you in this video tutorial. You're watching KK Java tutorials. In this video tutorial we are going to discuss about the final keyword in Java. So we'll see what are the use cases of final keyword in Java, and we'll see an example as well. So final keyword in Java has its usage in preventing the user from modifying a field, method or class. Usage of final keyword in Java. So these are the places we can use a final keyword in Java. So we can declare a field as a final. A variable declared as a final prevents the content of the variable being modified. So once you create a constant with final keyword, and once you assign some value, you can reassign some other value. Now final method, you can declare a method as final. A method declared as a final prevent the user from the overriding that method, right? So final method cannot be overridden. Now you can specify a class as final as well. A class declared as final cannot be extended, thus prevents basically inheritance, right? Now let's talk about the each and every points in little more detail. Now when we talk about the final variable in Java, a variable can be declared as final in Java which prevents its content from being modified. That already we have talked. A final variable can be initialized only once, but it can be done in two ways. First, value is assigned when variable is declared itself, as usually you declare a constant as a final. Second, value is assigned within a constructor. So while declaring a variable, if you declare as a final and if you do not initialize any value, then compiler will force you to basically initialize those values, those final values in the constructor. And that's the note saying that over here. Please note that the final variable that has not been assigned a value while declaring a variable is called blank final variable in Java. In that case, compiler forces the constructor to initialize it, right? These things you will have to keep in mind. Now when you declare an object as a final, then what happens? Basically making an object reference variable final is a little different from a normal variable, as in that case object fields can still be changed but the reference can't be changed. That is applicable to the collection as well, right? A collection declared as final means only its reference can't be changed, values can be still be added, right? Deleted, added, deleted or modified in that collection. So let's try to understand through an example. So here you can see I have declared a variable as final and I have assigned some value, and same I am printing in the main method. When I try to assign some other value to this final variable, then compiler is basically flagging an error, right, saying that final field cannot be assigned again, right? So that's the error we are getting. So now second thing, I have created a list which is a final. We can add as much as element if you want to add in this list, that's not a problem. But if you your reference is final, so if you try to assign some other object to the same reference, that is going to throw an error. So because you cannot assign any other object to this reference because this reference is final, right? So you can't assign some other object to the same reference. If your variable is not final, your reference is not final, then you can easily assign some other object. So that's the thing we have discussed in this slide. Now second thing, in second package I have created a class is called person, and here you can see all the variables in the person class I have declared as a final, right? And when your variable is final, then these all final variables it will have to initialize in the constructor. So let's see, I comment this constructor, then you can see error is coming saying that blank final field PAN number may not have been initialized. So this error is showing for PAN number last, but this is same valid for the some other two variables as well, right? So these variables you will have to initialize within a constructor, and that's the way basically we create the immutable class in Java. So I have also declared this class as a final so that no other class can extend it and no other class can change its behavior, right? And all the fields are private and final. So basically I would like to emphasize on the final keyword. So here final blank final variable you will have to initialize in the constructor itself, and we have a public getter, and here you can observe we don't have a public setter method. So in client program, when you create an object, right, so object creation time itself we are initializing this variable. After that, no way to change these variables, right? So and that's what we did not provide any public setter method, right? And if I run this program, then you will get the output something like that, right? So just I am printing the state of object by calling all the public getter method, and you will get the response something like this, right? So that's the blank final variable. Now let's come back over here. So I hope you understood what is final object. Now when we talk about the final method parameter, so parameters of a method can also be declared as final in Java to make sure that parameter is not changed in the method. Since Java is passed by value, so changing the parameter value won't affect the original value anyway, right? And those things already we have seen in the past videos. But making the parameter final ensures that the past parameter values is not changed in the method, and it is just used in the business logic the way it needs to be used, right? So if you declare these variables as final, then if anybody wants also caller, whenever caller is calling this method, then caller must be passing these parameters. So these parameters you cannot reassign some other value to this parameter. So call whatever value is sent by the caller, these values will be used as it is in this method. That's the basically significance, or that's the basically advantage of making a method parameter as final. Now final variables and thread safety. So there is some relation between final variables and thread safety. So variables declared as final are essentially read only, thus that is thread safe, right? Also, if any field is final, it is ensured by the JVM that other threads can't access the partially constructed object, thus making sure that final fields always have correct values when object is available to the other threads. So here in this example, here you can see this class we have made immutable, right? So while creating the object itself, this value is getting assigned. Afterwards, you cannot assign some other value, and that's the reason this class can be considered as a thread safe, right? So we made it immutable, and immutable immutable objects only once, basically that's assigned values at only once at the object creation time, and afterwards you cannot assign any other value, right? So that's what here you can say person is immutable class. Now how final keywords in Java relates with inheritance, right? The use of final with the method or class in Java relates to the concept of inheritance. You can have a final method or final class in Java, ensuring that a method declared as final can't be overridden and class declared as final can't be extended, right? So when we talk about the final method in Java, a method can be declared as final in order to avoid method overriding, right? Method declared as final in superclass can't be overridden in the subclass, and that's the basically prevents the method overriding. Now second point that's very important, you will have to keep in mind: if creator of the class is sure that the functionality provided in a method is complete and should not be used as is by the should be used as is by the subclasses, then the method should be declared as final in Java, right? So let's say if you create a method and you are very much sure that functionality is basically complete, so you want to prevent to override by the subclasses, so in that case you can make it as a final method. Now when we talk about the final class in Java, a class declared as final can't be extended, thus avoiding the inheritance altogether. If creator of the class is sure that class has all the required functionalities and should be used as it is without extending it, then it should be declared as final in Java. Now next point, saying that declaring a class as final implicitly means that all the methods of the class are final too, as the class can't be extended, right? So if you declare a class itself final, means you cannot override any of the method because you cannot extend it. So implicitly all the methods in final class are final itself, right? Now one important point, it is illegal to declare a class as a final and abstract both, right? Since abstract class by design relies on the subclasses to provide complete implementation, right? So you cannot declare a class as final and abstract at both time, because abstract class should be extended to complete the functionality and final cannot extend. So that's, there is a contradiction. So that's the reason you cannot apply both keyword at a time on the class. Now when we talk about the benefit of final class and method in Java, so benefits of final class in Java, since all the methods in the final class are implicitly final, thus final class may provide the same performance optimization benefits as final methods. So better we can talk about the benefits of the final method first. Methods declared as a final in Java may provide the performance enhancement too. Generally in Java, calls to the method are resolved at runtime, which is known as late binding or dynamic binding. But where, as in the case of final method, since compiler knows these methods cannot be overridden, call to these methods can be resolved at compile time. This is known as early binding. Because of this early binding, compiler can inline the methods declared as a final, thus avoiding the overhead of the method call, and that's what performance of method final method is better. When we talk about the benefits of the final class in Java, since all the methods in the final class are implicitly final, thus final class may provide the same performance optimization benefits as the final methods, right? So restricting extensibility may also be required in some cases, essentially when using third party tools, right? Now next point is saying that a class can be declared final when creating immutable class in Java, that already we have seen, right? So there are some of the key points I have listed in this slide. Like final keywords in Java can be used with fields, methods and classes. Now final variables are essentially read only, and it is common convention to write a final variable in all capital letters, something like this. This is just a convention, not a rule. Now next point, final variables that are not initialized during the declaration are called blank final variable. In that case, it forces the constructor to initialize it. Failure to do so will result in compilation error, that already we have seen. Now final variables can be initialized only once. Assigning any value thereafter will result in the compile time error. Now next point, final variables are read only, thus that is a thread safe, right? In case of final object, reference can't be changed, that already we have seen. Now final methods can't be override, final classes cannot be extended, final methods are bound during compile time, and that is called early binding, which means compiler may inline those methods, resulting in the performance optimization, right? So these are all the basically key points. I am very much sure if you would have gone through the entire video, then definitely would have learned something new about the final keyword. So that's all I have in this video tutorial, guys. So I hope you enjoy learning this video. If you really like this video, then please hit on the like button and don't forget to share and subscribe my YouTube channel. Guys, big thank you for watching this video, and see you there in the next video tutorial.